What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Best Family Homestead. Thought I'd do a quick intro on this video on top of the other intro. This one I figured I would leave a little bit more kind of behind the scenes, how life actually usually is around me. Drives a lot of people crazy. I have to shoot and reshoot a lot of footage. I get a lot of footage because to make it usable and flow and make sense, and it takes a lot of editing. So I figured on this one I would do a video that's kind of just how everyday life is when I have a project going. It doesn't usually flow quite as smooth as I edit to make it look. I go over and over and over things in my head generally before I start to record, and then, you know, half the time I re-record it because I'm not real happy with it. Welcome to ADD Life with Aaron. Enjoy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Best Family Homestead. So today, like normal, I'm a little bit behind. We got a lot to do. I'm going to clean up from the well house because I finished that right before we took Aiden down to college, and I just got back about 2 o'clock last night. So going to clean this mess up because I know you guys, some people will doubt that I ever did it, so I'm going to show you. But yeah, we're going to clean this mess up, get it looking good. I also wanted to give y'all an update again on our raised beds, and you can see they are doing ridiculously well. I suckered these things right before we left. I mean, I didn't even get that on video because I'm trying to keep them tied up. I just tied this one up and like a couple of these a few minutes ago, but you can see how high from where I tied them up they've gotten. And look at these suckers. I mean, they've grown, that's in just a few days time. So the raised beds are definitely working. Our okra plant has okras and is getting huge, and our peppers are starting to explode. You can see I had to go through, we had a cutworm, one of those stupid little hornworms. I relocated him. I've got to check again and make sure I don't have any more eaters eating on anything. And then as soon as this is cleaned up, I've got to get started on another project. So I said I'm going to be chinking the house, you know, and getting all this done as soon as the weather gets nicer. It's almost that time here in another few weeks, but one of the things I have to do is these poor roses. Most of these are all heirloom roses, and you can see they are neglected. I have not done a good job taking care of the roses this year or last year. I'm going to fix that though. But when we get started tinking and putting the siding and all that stuff on, I don't want to leave the roses there because they'll just get completely destroyed. So I'm going to lay out and mark over here where I want the roses to go, and basically like most of this area, which is all nice and sunny around the pump house and these raised beds, I'm just gonna make like a pretty garden spot and put the roses. So I kind of want to get that laid down or laid out and go ahead and start getting my black fabric down to start killing the grass, and start getting the holes prepared for the roses. Plenty to do. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Then I'm gonna start suckering on the tomatoes and stuff, and then get started on cleanup. I tell you, I am a huge fan of these raised beds. One is one of the best looking, or some of the best looking tomato plants that I've ever had. And two, just walking by, I mean, you can see there's almost no weeding to be done. Now you can see my, I was expecting my soil level to drop quite a bit on this go around, and it has. But that's a good thing, because I'll add good compost as we go. And if I had used, you know, I had the leftover sawdust that had been sitting on the ground for a while. If it hadn't been for that, I probably wouldn't have even really had any weeds at all. I'm telling you, I can't stay ahead of them. Like, look, here's another one. But so much easier to take care of. I mean, it only takes me just a minute. Took me like 5 minutes there maybe to sucker and tie these up. And normally that's one of the things I hate why my tomato plants never do so good, is because I don't tie them up. And I think that was a sucker. I'll probably just let this one just honestly go over the edge instead of trying to tie it up and break it. But it's already got tomatoes. I think those are Cherokee purples right there. So let it go. All right, now for the definitely not fun part. Let's get all this mess cleaned up so we can get started on some more projects. This video probably will drive some of y'all crazy, but it'll give you an insight into my brain, my world. Yeah, I'm ADD as crap. And so any given day I'm bouncing around 500 different ways getting stuff done. All right, so for the zone that we're in down here inside Georgia 7A, I think it's 7A, I'd have to double check that. A lot of stuff bounce around in here. Sometimes it takes me a minute to find it. We've been getting a lot of our afternoon thunder showers, but it hasn't been a whole lot of substantial rain. Now roses, it's actually a good time, late fall is a good time to transplant roses, to move them. However, I want to make sure, and I need to water them for about 3 days and just water the crap out of them. Can't really use a sprinkler or a shot next to the house. It's already exposed enough. So I'm gonna get a drink first. And I'm gonna turn the water hose down to a trickle. Plus I really don't feel like watering all the weeds. There we go. I'm just gonna turn the water hose down to a little trickle here. And let it go on each one of the rose plants for 5 or 10 minutes for the next few days. I'm gonna do that every day. And that way it's gonna really loosen up the soil, make sure that when I'm digging those roses up, I don't damage or break the roots with the hard red clay. Which there is some good soil. I did put good compost soil, but that was 6 years ago when we moved in. So it's not that great. I was going to go into the story with the roses, but we'll wait until we actually move them, and I'll tell you about the roses and all that. And in keeping with my ADD theme right now, I realized that mostly due to the rain on the last video where I finished up building the well house, I was going to explain my design, and I forgot. So I noticed it in a lot of the comments. A lot of comments have been hard to respond to all of them, so I thought I would go over a lot of the questions I had in the comments. So one of the biggest ones was, Aaron, aren't you going to put an access door in? Well, this side right here, this whole piece where Artemis is sitting, is my access door. It simply sets inside the other two walls. And if you'll notice this piece of trim here, the reason this piece of trim here is cut into two pieces is so that all I have to do is pull this screw and this screw, that screw and that screw on both sides, here and here, and I've got my handles, and I can simply pull it out. It's not that heavy. That's how I did it when I had to fix the wiring. So all I simply had to do is just pick that up and set it out of the way. I didn't use hinges for a reason, because if anyone needs to access, like if I have to actually take this thing apart to pull the pump out, hinges would have just been something else, you know, more I'd had to take apart. Plus with a latch, I wouldn't have had the structural rigidity of 4 fastened together walls. You know, a knob or a latch, I would have had one wall that wasn't fastened. This way it's a solid box, all 4 corners are connected, so that it's easy to take apart and it's strong. And I think I counted, there is a lot of screws on the roof. I think there's like 10, I counted, but all I have to do is take this corner off, undo the screws on this corner, and take the roof off. So it's 5 full pieces, and then to put it back up is pretty easy as well. Somebody said, oh, I never saw you anchor it down. The GoPro has been acting up on me a little bit, and I lost that footage. But the reason I used the blocks with the big holes, what I did is I took an 8-inch carriage bolt here, and I think I've got 6 of them in there. I used the carriage bolt because it gave me a good area down there that would hold, and I mortared it into the brick, and then on the 2x4 I drilled a hole, and so this is mortared in, and then I've got a fender washer that I put down, and then I just tightened my nut down. So it is anchored into that brick foundation, which I must say I was worried I didn't use enough mortar, but when I was putting this thing together, like I kicked, hit, that's pretty strong foundation. So it's not just going to come apart. It's really, really heavy. So if something rolls through that a storm or, you know, a wind shear, a tornado rolls through, that's going to move this pump house here, the pump house is going to be the least of my worries. I'm going to have trees down, probably my house down. You know, it's going to be nasty. So I think that might answer all the questions to the comments. Oh, insulation. A lot of people keep asking, aren't you going to insulate it? Aren't you going to insulate it? If you watch where I had to fix the wiring the other day, there is a heater that is on this pump inside that goes to an extension cord the previous owners put in. I guess the one thing they did right, which was really unnecessary, but if it's going to get down, you know, below 20 degrees, I can plug that in. The biggest thing I needed to do was block the wind to keep the wind chill off of it. I am going to put blue board in here on the inside just to help knock it, you know, and do some insulation. I don't want to use any spray foam or insulation in the cracks because then it'll be hard to get apart. But I'm just going to put blue board up in there. And for down here in South Georgia, it's going to be just fine, especially considering my stupid water lines are only 6 inches under the ground. So my pump's not going to freeze and bust. Now pipes underground, been here 6 years, hasn't happened yet, but eventually I'll get them all buried down where they need to be. ADD brain trying to work here. All right, so I hope that answers those questions. Like I said, eclectic video, a lot of random stuff going on. Welcome to my world. All right, so for the last little bit of the cleanup, I had to put copper inside because I'm sure if you watch any of my videos, you see he likes to dig. And if he sees me dig, it's even worse. So I've got to fill in all the holes from where I had to fix wiring and where copper dug everything up. There we go, that's better. I'm not too worried about how it looks right now because it's all going to be mulched rose areas. All right, random ADD thought. He might have noticed I put all the wood in a barrel and have it stacked up. In days past, it would have all went to the burn pile or into the burn barrel. However, seeing how awesome the hugelkultur beds work, all the scrap wood that I have now, I'm going to save to make more hugelkultur beds. So, don't have to burn it, and it's going to get used for something more useful than making air pollution. If you want to do that though, make sure don't use treated wood. All right. Not the last ADD thought of the day, but the last one for the next 30 seconds. Okay, marginally better. Cleanup done, tomato sucker tied up. Random explanations, well house stuff done. Had to mow the yard a little bit. I mean, I just mowed and it's already 8 inches high. The dog's backyard is a foot high again in 5 days. But somebody had asked if it always rains in Georgia. This is summer, especially in South Georgia. It's similar to Florida in that once the weather starts getting hot, you get afternoon thunder showers, which always slows you down right when you're really get rolling on a project. Or even worse, you're almost finished with the project. Here come the thunder showers. Okay, now to get started on the next project. All right, ready to get started. So I gotta get all these rocks right here up. Originally, a good while back, I was going to do like a little flower bed right here around where the cars park. That was hard to take care of, and I didn't really care for how it looked. So I'm gonna pull these rocks up so I can reuse them. And like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and mark off where I want to put my roses. Whoever made this turnaround spot did not really think it through very well, because since it's curved, you know, it might look okay, but it's kind of useless. You can still really only fit 2 cars in here, because if a truck or a full-size car parks here next to the well house, it sticks out back into the driveway, makes it hard to back out and back in and park. So I want to say while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and fix it, but a lot of that depends on how hard the ground is and everything, because I'd like to, I don't want it to be perfectly square, but I want to square these corners up a little bit so that it gives a little bit more room, and then that way I should have enough rocks from this corner right here. I should have enough rocks to patch that up. Obviously, I cannot put any roses right in this area because of how the water lines run. I think they run this way and then go back, but I'm gonna have to kind of figure that out. I guess I will as I dig. I'm just gonna dig really carefully. But I'm gonna play around with it. I've got enough wood for another raised bed. I've got to figure out where I want to put that, and I'm gonna take my paint mark stuff that I like so much and kind of eyeball it and figure out how I want it to go. I know my roses need a whole lot of sun, and you can see right now we're still getting sun, and it's about 4:30, 4:45. So perfect, anywhere through here is a great place for roses. Lots of sun. Great for tomatoes and peppers too. So let's start doing some math and figure out where I want to go with this. Okay, so I've got my general idea laid out here, but you can see I changed it a few times. So I've got my magic eraser. I'm going to erase my lines, old lines, and then I'll show you guys what I'm thinking about. Alright, so in my opinion, the less grass I have, the better. And at first I think I was trying to make it a little too small. So I'm going to start right along this area. You can see where my orange line goes. And I want it where I can mostly mow with the tractor. So I'm not going to put any hard curves, probably not even as hard as this there. And run it down this way to the edge of the driveway. Now remember, I've got enough wood there for one more hugelkultur bed, and I told my daughter I'd get it for her for some fall flowers and or me a fall garden. So that's what this one box right here is for. I'm gonna turn it catty cornered like this to that angle, and then as I get more wood, I'll go off the end of this bed and do 2 more beds the same length as that. So I'll be catty cornered here, and it'll come down even with this side. That'll give me 2 really big areas for growing all the vegetables that I could use right now. And then for the roses, this way I don't have to move the roses again. One reason I thought ahead on the project, the roses I can put here in this area at the end of where the beds will be on both sides, and just kind of intersperse them where they'll be out of the way. I'll have a nice big walkway between the two gardens, and this is all. I've got a lot of landscape fabric. I might almost have enough to cover all this, so I can go ahead and start killing the grass and not have to spray it. But it'll be landscape fabric, and put mulch on it. And with the mulch on top of the landscape fabric, it'll last a while. And I'm thinking that part of the hugelkultur bed I'm going to do there, I might actually do the hugelkultur mound, the traditional style, because I want to try that. I don't have a whole lot more cutoff wood, but I've got plenty of scrap old dead pine to use to build up and make an actual hugelkultur mound, a traditional mound, and show you guys how to do that. And those are great because you can grow vines, you can grow watermelons and cantaloupe and all kinds of stuff like that. So, Aaron ADD moment. I have mostly remembered to be moving the water hose today. Mostly remembered. Yeah. Let's go over here and turn off the water hose real quick. All right, well, you can see I'm always constantly making more work for myself, but this will be worth it. The roses have to get moved. So probably what I will do is put the landscape fabric down and start and get the roses moved. That has to get done before we start on the house. And the rest of this stuff will be as time permits. I've got an idea for making some pavers and stuff I want to try instead of buying them. But that's how Aaron goes about planning a project. I plan a project and 10 more projects pop up out of that one project. So now I'm gonna put up the tools, and it's that time of year. I'm going to go coach. I'm the dryland coach for my wife's swim team, so I've got to wrap it up for the night, go do some weight coaching for the kids, and then might get home in time to do a little bit more season. We will see how that goes. All right, everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure and like, subscribe, and share so that you get to see a lot of the crazy projects I have planned. I'm kind of proud of myself though. I'm actually finishing projects as well as creating projects. So I guess as long as you finish some of them as you make more, it's all right. But I'm not leaving any half finished at the moment. All right, guys, catch y'all next time.